Hello guys, Sapphire Yagami with the review of Rain Season 2. How about to say 3? Like, hold up, I'm skipping way too ahead. Season 2, Episode 3, titled The Coronation. So we start off with Mary and Francis discussing the financial problems they are currently having in France, and they're debating, like, should we actually be having this party? And Captain says, you have to, because right now, people who are not really fond of you and Francis and France in general are looking at you, pretty much your lions looking at you, and you have to look strong to them and not weak. But once you look weak, the people will come in and try to take over, and you really don't want that. And there's a lot of people who probably want you, because you're royals, your head on a freaking platter. Then we see a medium walking out of his tent stating he needs quiet to hear the spirits. Then we see like this look on Francis' face like, like Francis starting to believe. Meanwhile, Lola and Kenna are talking with these ladies about the coronation. They're like excited, like, oh, with the dress, and they're talking about, pretty much talking to Lola like, oh, Francis is gonna claim your kid as his own. Oh, you must be having you must be so excited to have all the titles and stuff. Like, how did you? Pretty much like saying, how did you? And Lola's like, Lola on her face like, she really? I mean, she's happy that a part of her is happy that Francis is gonna be there for his kid, is gonna claim him. But part of her is like, she kind of doesn't want all this attention because it's not what she wants. She don't want to be pretty much his mistress, all the stuff that comes with it. So we seen what happened with Kenna when she became the King Henry's mistress. Like, she got beat up, she got punched in the face. They treating her last episode, she was calling her, you're nothing but a whore, and all this stuff. Like, what woman wants that type of treatment, And so we see Lord Narcisse approaching Francis and Mary, and pretty much coming up with more and more excuses why he has not yet brought the grain to, because these people are starving. So actually we see a thief being chased, and he is then killed, and Francis' cousin sees that he was stealing chicken and bread to feed his family, because due to the plague, a lot of places, a lot of grains stuff was, burned, and so these people, the peasants and whatnot, these people are starving. But the thing is, not King Francis, technically he's Prince Francis and Queen Mary. Yes, they're royals, but they do not control the grain. The nobles control the grain, and right now the noble who controls the most majority of the grain in France is Lord Narcisse, and it's sort of, he pretty much has the power over Francis and Mary at this point. And they're like, and Mary's like, we got to do something because people in our country is pretty much starving. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said Lord Ducasse, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He introduces his family and stuff, and he asks us about the grain. Francis asks him, can you help us out with some grain? But Ducasse is pretty much afraid because Narcisse most likely is threatening every other noble, like, oh, you give them this, I'm gonna threaten you and stuff like that. So then we have a German Protestant come in to ask Mary about the release of prisoners that was put in jail due to thanks to King Henry, and saying, can Francis release them? And Mary's like, I'm gonna talk to him about it. And if you release them, I'm gonna give you grain. So like, Mary's like, oh my god, because they really need grain. So she's like, so she eventually tells Francis about it. He's like, sort of on the fence about it. And then we have a young woman approaching Bass to ask him to arrest a noble for killing her husband. Catherine later is approached by Lord Narcisse, and she knows that he wants power, and because he's taking forever with his freaking grain. Kenna's then approached by a young woman and discusses nobles and Bash's title and asks about, hey, you would like, get some property of your own and stuff like that. Kenna's like, ooh, yeah, Then, as I said before, since Lord Ducasse is afraid of Lord Narcisse later in the night, Lord Narcisse takes his kid and has a child on the outside on the balcony to the point, and threatens Lord Ducasse later that day. Next day, Lord Ducasse like, Francis can't help you with the grain. And he's like, oh. So Catherine approached the Lord Narcisse and said, she was going to get her grain elsewhere. So obviously Catherine got something up her sleeves. Francis then decides to head to Tent City. Mary approaches Francis goes to see a medium to see if Lola's nurse is actually possessed by the spirit of his dad. Bash is then questioning a boy about Lord Barnard and Lord Darrow. So he sees that Lord Barrow's throat was cut, so something's up. So he has to investigate this. So Mary then talks with Greer about taking the German, talking with the Duke from Germany about, getting the grain and stuff. Greer's like, shouldn't you talk to France about this first? And Mary's like, well, he's gonna be leaving soon, and pretty much our country really needs his grain. And it's like, pretty much all this stuff is going on. Francis, still inside the tent. He talks with the spirit inside the nurse, his father. So he questions it, questions the spirit, and he gets scared. I'll be scared too, if I killed my daddy, and now he's literally coming back to haunt me. Who wouldn't be scared? Mary is pacing back and forth, and she tells Francis when he returns about the deal. And Francis is upset, saying that how can France respect me if you, as my wife and my queen, cannot even respect me? And it sort of pretty much saying that it makes him look weak in the eyes of his country. Because yes, Mary is a queen, but she is still a woman, and they're pretty much not going to take her seriously compared to Francis. And when Mary making majority decisions, Francis is going to pretty much look like he's a little Mitch. And no man wants to look like a Mitch. Plain and simple. Kendall wakes Bash and talks about the chateau. And Bash, questions her, like, wait a minute. And says that Lady Barano is pretty much bribing you because her husband is suspected of murder. So then Kendall approaches Lady Barano and responds that... and saying, like, you're trying to bribe me and everything. And later about, like, I'm going to do anything to save my husband, same thing as you. And then she says that just because Bash has the title does not mean you got it saved. You are still seen as pretty much the king's whore. And Bash is pretty much still seen as the bastard. People ain't going to like you. The only reason you think you're safe is because you're hanging on by a thread because Mary is your friend and Bash is the brother of Francis. But, don't mean y'all safe, y'all untouchable. Pretty much saying like that. And, pretty much threatening Bash's life. So, Kenna, is now afraid. Because we see the love blossom between Bash and Kenna. So beautiful. I'm just glad they're happy. And, meanwhile, Francis and Mary chilling at, like, this, having, like, a little festive thing. When the Duke approaches Francis saying... he went to go get the prisoners, but they was gone. Like, what the hell? And so then he shows them these torture devices that was apparently used on the prisoners. And I was like, and I looked at those things look like they hurt. That's all I can say. So Mary and Francis was like freaking out, like, oh great, now what the hell the prisoners like? It's like every time they think they done did something right, something else goes wrong. It's like, oh God. That's one reason I don't think I could ever be a queen. That's a stressful job. Like, oh my God, you gotta maneuver everything. Oh God, I'll be so stressed. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. So they try to figure out how we gonna fix this situation. So Mary then questions the guards and finds out that the courtesan who was with Francis's cousin Connolly, because they said she had one green eye, one blue, and she was just beautiful and exotic looking. Oh, we couldn't resist my lady. And so Mary goes to question Conley, and they say he returns the prisoners and found out he took them, so he's trying to get somebody else try to help. And she's like, please return them so I know that you be the man that you are and stuff like that. So Conley returns the prisoners. Francis and Mary learn the seeds about the grain they're gonna be getting from Germany, and pretty much like. You thought you had the upper hand, but now we got you. And Lord Narcissus like, grain will be here today. Like, ha ha! You thought you had Mary and Francis, son. You thought you... No, you didn't. I'm personally happy for Francis and Mary because they really want to be, good leaders. They want to be good king and queen. Do things justly and honestly, and not, cunning and all that stuff like Henry and Catherine were. They want to be different. That's a good thing. So Mary thanks Lord Connolly, and he also thanks her for helping him with his situation. Francis then goes to see his son, and Lola asks about Caroline, and he tells her that there was nothing wrong with Caroline, but it was just something that, you know, really didn't get too much details about it, but, you know, telling her, you know, nothing big deal. Okay. Francis and Mary get coronated. That's the word, right? Coronated. You know, they have the coronation, and Francis, like, you know, pretty much when we fuss, nothing's gonna get done. But when we work together, you know, we could do, you know, we can accomplish great things, pretty much. So then, you know, they all dressed up, you know, they finest royal stuff. So then, you know, the crown on his head. His is slightly bigger than Mary's, and he has like the scepter and like the little, I'm not sure what they call it, but it's what royals is, like a little ball with a like cross on top, and then of course Mary gets a crown, and she has. I love Mary's dresses in this freaking show. Like, they really need to have like a rain clothing line or something. Like, I want her dresses, like, they are so freaking fabulous, and she has a really nice dress. They sit down, they sitting on his throne, you know. All hail King Francis, all hail Queen Mary. I'm like, woo, coronation. And of course later that night to celebrate the coronation, Mary and Francis. Anyway, and then Lorna, Cease, and Catherine talk about the grain. Catherine, you know, since she's Medici, she got, you know, she used her money and got the grain, and, you know, and thank people. And she's like, I love when Catherine acts like she's doing everything out the goodness of her heart, because she be like, oh. I just love it when she does that. Oh. Like, really, for Catherine. I just love it. I do it for the love of my country. Anyway, that's pretty much all that happened in that episode. And this week, for Reign, we have Mary apparently is finally pregnant. Apparently there's more about, you know, there's more with this whole spirit thing, you know, there's going to be a rocketing. So let's definitely see how this is going to be interesting. Also, with the, let's see, Mary's pregnant, how this is going to work between her and Lola. Because Mary really doesn't want her relationship to be like Catherine and Portia, but we do see that Mary has a little bit of animosity with her, with not only Francis, but with her friend Lola, because of the fact that, one, Lola is her friend, two, Francis is, you know, she loves Francis, but, you know, at the time frame, he technically wasn't, you know, the Prince of France. But then again, it's like, okay, yeah, you was the Prince of France, but you could have literally slept with somebody else that was not my best friend. It's like, say Mary had a sister and you no longer the prince, but you go and sleep with my sister. It's like, really? Even though you could sleep with a whore, I probably couldn't care less. But the fact that this is my best friend, I grew up with this girl. I'm not sure they actually grew up together, but you know what I'm saying. You know, like, you know, we're buds, we're tight, you know, like this, and you go and sleep with her. Like, seriously, you couldn't sleep with somebody else. Like, all the women in France, you slept with this one. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you really don't want, and that's another thing, is that when Mary does bring it up, Francis is like, you're not going to talk about it. It's like, Francis really doesn't want to talk about it, when y'all probably really should talk about this, you know, and how you're going to handle this. You constantly not want to talk about it. It's not making this any better, Francis. It's really not. Also, let's see. Also, with the prophecy that Nostradamus predicted, that Francis will die, I think they say about after a year he's been married to Mary. This is definitely going to be interesting. And are we going to see Clarissa again? Because obviously she's alive. I'm curious if we're ever going to see Clarissa again. And also, what does fate have in store for Greer, Castleroy, and Leah? Obviously Leah has lost his land. Poor thing. And Castleroy, he's upset with Greer, even though he does love her. I mean, I love Castleroy. He really is a kind-hearted person. You know, shoot, I'll marry him. And girl, the one I see, I'll marry me some Castleroy. Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting to see. Also, Lola. I feel bad for Lola too. I mean, also she could have not slept with Francis. You know, it's not just necessary's fault. You know, it takes two to tango, two to make a baby. But she doesn't want to be. She just really wants to be with her and her kids. She doesn't want, you know, for her, you know, titles are not, you know, it's not really like an important thing to her. You know, if she could, she probably just live in a nice little cottage with her son and her, and find her a man who's gonna, who's gonna accept her. Cause most men, probably at court be like, oh, she slept with the king. She's a whore, and that bastard Charles was. It's gonna be like that at the French court. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna, in the eyes of the dudes at court, she's gonna be a whore and be like, ooh, I wonder if she's any good. It's gonna be some crap like that. So I feel bad for Lola and that part. Now, Kenna and Bash. Obviously, I love the fact that a relationship blooming. They're, they're literally cute, the rhymes. But Kenna's wanting to have titles and, a nice house. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, wanting a, nice home and stuff like that. But, it starts to seem a little, like, like gold diggerish. I was trying to find a different word for it, but that's what it's starting to seem like to me. But Kenna personally, it's like a little bit gold diggerish. Like, okay, okay, you don't have the titles and the chateau, but you have Bash. Be happy. And obviously Bash really doesn't care if he got a title or not. You know what I'm saying? And Bash like. Because, because Bash is kind of used to it. He grew up in French court. Because whether he has a title or not, he knows he's still going to be seen as a bastard. You know what I'm saying? Francis is his brother. That's what he's going to be seen as. You know what I'm saying? So for Bash, he kind of grew up with it. So him was like, okay, so I don't have a chateau. I got you. That's all. Kind of all I need, Kenna, that's all I need, And I do love the relationship between Francis and Bash. Because, like, in the first season, you kind of see that they was close. But then it came with Mary, and so they became. It was like, well, damn. Girl get between some dudes, boy, things get different, boy. But now they're closer together now, and then now he is gonna have 2 kids, and I just really hope that Mary and Francis really don't end up like King Henry and Catherine, cause that was a weird, crazy relationship. Right? It's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna subscribe, and I will see you guys Thursday for the new episode of Rain. So, bye. Also, keep up any updates I may have on both my channels. Just check my Twitter. Keep everybody updated through Twitter at Sapphire Yagami.